Hello, I'm Maya Jama, and I'm here live at the Geneva International Motor Show, where one of the most famous luxury car manufacturers, Aston Martin Lagonda, is about to unveil some of the most highly anticipated cars in their automotive history. It's going to be massive.
What is it that you want to do? Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a good time. Good time. What is it that you want to do? Let's have a good time.
Hello, everyone. I'm here today at the Geneva Motor Show for this incredible event, as Aston Martin Lagonda is about to reveal the next stage in their automotive journey. It's exciting. Today, President and CEO Andy Palmer will be introducing us to some brand new Aston Martin Lagonda vehicles. They're right here behind me in all their glory, covered in the silks. But that is not all. Today, we want you guys at home to be involved, and if you would like to ask Andy a question, you can do so by using the hashtag Aston Martin. Get in touch, talk to us, let us know your opinions and views, and we'll be catching up with him straight after the reveal. But in the meantime, let us know what you're thinking. Your thoughts are our thoughts. We could not wait to hear from you. Now, whilst we wait for the show to begin, I am joined by a real auto aficionado, a man who certainly knows his way around these machines. Please welcome motoring expert and vlogger, Mr. JWW.
That was quite the intro, Maya.
Thanks.
I'd like to present alongside you again.
Yeah,
that was
exciting.
Awesome.
I'm pumped for this today. How are you feeling?
This is monumental. The significance of this launch for Aston Martin is colossal. And what we're going to be showing over the next few minutes is going to elevate this brand to the next level. It's a really special day.
Big. And I know, because the little birdie's told me, that you've had a sneak peek of some of these cars.
Maybe.
What can we expect? There's so many eyes around us right now, hanging on to your every word.
Well, I would tell you, but the words that come out of my mouth, you wouldn't believe them. Honestly, some of the cars over there are incredible.
Okay.
But we're going to see them anyway in about 15 minutes' time. But I think at the end of this, the whole industry is really going to stand to attention. It's a very special day.
Okay. Well, tell me about the Lagonda all-terrain concept, because you know quite a bit about that.
Yeah, so last year at Geneva, think of Lagonda almost as a sub-brand now of Aston Martin. They very cleverly spun it off and have created it as their electric division.
Okay.
So behind us, we're seeing their all-terrain concept. It's a luxurious SUV, and that's actually going to be the first electric car which we will see as a production car from Aston Martin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big. And do you
Big
remember
deal.
your first ever Aston Martin experience? Because you know your cars.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, as chance would have it, my uncle restores classic Aston Martins. When I was
Okay.
about this big, he took me for a
way.
drive in a DB5, and today I can still remember how that car smelled. You know,
You could
so-
smell it, you could taste
yeah,
it, feel it.
Absolutely. So the notion of being here today, presenting for Aston Martin, having that young experience, is mind-blowing.
Yeah, well, it's a big day for you. It's a big day for me. It's a big day for every single person in this room right now. Thank you so much, James. We're going to speak to you more in a sec. All right, we are moments away from the start of the show, and I can already see there is so much excitement out there on social media. So let's take a look at some of your comments. We have got Dave from Manchester. Hello, Dave. He says, these look amazing. He's very excited. There's loads of exclamation marks. Claire in Leicester, I'm not leaving the room, not even for a cup of tea. I don't blame you, Claire. One cup of tea, you might miss a whole car. It's not worth it. Paul in Maidenhead, please be a supercar. Fingers crossed for you. Claudia from Hertfordshire, she says, I feel like this is going to be big. It is. But now it is time for me to clear the stage to make way for Andy Palmer. And don't worry, because me and Mr. JWW will be right back to answer your questions. Hashtag Aston Martin. Stay tuned.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Andy Palmer, President and Group Chief Executive Officer, Aston Martin Lagonda.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Aston Martin Lagonda. To buck the trend each year, we try to keep a few surprises, and as you can see behind me, we have a few of those in store today. In 2015, here in Geneva, we launched the Second Century Plan, our roadmap for returning Aston Martin Lagonda to sustained profitability and for setting the company on track to be a leading global luxury company. We set out 3 phases to the plan: stabilization, strengthening, and growth. We marked the completion of the second phase of this plan just last week, when we announced strong financial results for a year in which we achieved, amongst other things, record 12-month revenues of £1.1 billion, up 25% versus 2017. A record adjusted EBITDA of £247 million, up 20%. A 26% increase in total volumes and a 30% increase in core car volumes. 2018 was also a year in which we listed on the London Stock Exchange, the first automotive group to list there in nearly 30 years. I want to recognize our shareholders, our suppliers, our dealers, and most importantly, our customers and employees for enabling Aston Martin Lagonda to become the only British car company listed on the LSE, a milestone we can all be proud of. And I'm also delighted to welcome many members of our new board of directors to the show today. 4 years ago, in our Second Century Plan, and with our core sports car range renewed and extremely well received in the market, our attention now turns, or more accurately, we come with the biggest of our product portfolio in 106 years. First to come is the Aston Martin DBX. Prototype models of our first SUV have started an extensive testing program. Appropriately, this began in Wales, home to Aston Martin's new St Athan production facility in the Vale of Glamorgan. The DBX will go into full production in St Athan in 2020, after it is unveiled later this year. Now, amid the most turbulent set of economic and political factors to hit the UK and the EU in modern history, Aston Martin will create over 700 skilled jobs at St Athan, and by the end of our business plan, be one of the largest automotive employers and inward investors into the United Kingdom. Please forgive me the Thatcherism, but I think it's justified to say that this company is not for turning. St Athan will also become the home of electrification and the manufacturing home of the Lagonda brand, the world's first luxury brand exclusively driven by zero-emission powertrain technologies. But more on Lagonda in a moment. In addition to the significant investments and jobs creation being made in the UK by Aston Martin Lagonda, we've also turned our attention to how we can help fuel the passion for motorsport that has long enabled the United Kingdom to punch above its weight on the world stage. From campaigning our vantage in the World Endurance Championship through to Aston Martin Red Bull Racing, we already invest substantially in the British motorsports industry. This summer, we'll celebrate 60 years since our historic win at Le Mans. The DBR1 has become one of the most beloved racing cars of all time, and along the way also became the most valuable British car in existence. As with any great racing victory, it's a combination of man and machine. And just as we recognize the role of the DBR1, we also celebrate the heroic exploits of Carroll Shelby and Roy Salvadori, who drove Aston Martin to victory that weekend. Ensuring that we can develop the next Roy Salvadori, Sterling Moss, Nigel Mansell, or Lewis Hamilton is critically important to the future success of the British motorsports industry. And so, I'm delighted to announce that Aston Martin will become the automotive partner of the BRDC Autosport Young Driver of the Year Award. Recognized and respected across the world as one of the most innovative and important driver development programs, the BRDC Autosport Young Driver of the Year Award has been boosting the career of young drivers since 1989. Amongst its alumni are David Coulthard, Dario Franchitti, Jenson Button, and of course our very own Darren Turner. And of course we should also mention George Russell and Lando Norris, both making their F1 debuts this season. I'd like to recognise Derek Warwick and the board of the British Racing Drivers Club for their tireless work in creating and promoting the young drivers, and we're proud to join forces with you. If SUVs are now defining one end of the luxury car spectrum, then rear mid-engine cars represent the other end. Traditionally, Aston Martin has not played in the rear mid-engine segment. Later this year, when we're delivering the first of our rear mid-engine cars, the Aston Martin Valkyrie, frankly, is going to change this segment forever. Co-developed with Red Bull Advanced Technologies, Aston Martin Valkyrie, with its 1,160 brake horsepower, not only promises to be the defining hypercar of the decade, but also establishes a new mid-engined bloodline for the company. When we first announced our intention to develop the Aston Martin Valkyrie, one company's boss said the car was impossible. Well, perhaps for them, but not for us. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd now like to invite Adrian, Christian, David and Marek to reveal the very first verification prototype of the Aston Martin Valkyrie. Thank you. You'll see the car later. It's quite something. The bloodline continues with the track-only Valkyrie AMR Pro model that you see over there, which will have F1 levels of performance. Extensive simulator work at Aston Martin Red Bull Racing indicate the Valkyrie AMR Pro will be within 5% of the fastest lap times set during the 2018 Spa F1 race. Okay, now let's move to the next car. As its code name suggested, Project 003 follows the Aston Martin Valkyrie and Valkyrie AMR Pro as the third hypercar in Aston Martin's rear mid-engine story. I'm pleased to announce that Red Bull Advanced Technologies will be supporting this program with their expertise, and Project 003 now officially joins the AMRB family. When we first conceived AMRB 003, we wanted to take everything we learned on the Aston Martin Valkyrie and translate it into a car with its own unique character. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd now like to invite Christian and David back to reveal AMRB 003. AMRB 003 will be our daily supercar, but with the ability to create extreme performance through active aero and active suspension on both road and track. With a start of production in 2021, we will build just 500 coupes, which will be powered by a brand new Aston Martin developed, UK-built V6 engine. As our partnership with Red Bull Racing grows on and off the track, so the 00 series of special models helps to fuel the growth of our core production lineup. Under our second century plan, we committed to 7 cars in 7 years. 3 of those have already been launched, and the DBX SUV will be our 4th. At the end of the plan come models 6 and 7, the 2 Lagonda models, the first of which you will see shortly. Rounding out the 7 models is car number 5, the car under wraps just over there. In addition to the 00 Special Series cars, we wanted to bring a core production rear mid-engine car to our range, the perfect complement to our growing portfolio and an important driver of our future growth. Powered by a version of the same brand new Aston Martin V6 engine found in the AMRB 003, we wanted to break away from the design and packaging conventions of the rear mid-engine sports car market. Muscular and purposeful in its stance, it is unmistakably another beautiful Aston Martin. I'm also proud to announce with this car the return of the much-loved name to the Aston Martin portfolio. Miles and Tobias, our designers, if you'd like to join me. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Aston Martin Vanquish Vision concept. The Vanquish Vision concept marks another pivotal moment in Aston Martin's history and another critical step in delivering the second century plan. Designed and conceived in our new Design and Engineering Centre in the UK on the Red Bull Racing campus, our first series production rear mid-engine supercar will be a transformational moment for the brand. It is the car that will propel Aston Martin into a sector of the market traditionally seen as the heartland of luxury sports cars. From Valkyrie to Vanquish, Aston Martin will have a world-class lineup of rear mid-engine cars, born of Formula One technology, fused with Aston Martin design and production know-how. These 4 incredible cars show the seriousness of our intention to upend the rear mid-engine market. Beautiful is fearless. When we announced our intention to relaunch the Lagonda brand as the world's first and only true luxury electric car company, we clearly rattled a few teacups. With Lagonda, a brand that is 120 years old, we are unashamedly setting out to disrupt a cozy duopoly and give customers a modern, tech-forward view of large luxury cars. On this stage last year, we revealed Lagonda Vision Concept, which laid out the bold design language that will come to define the Lagonda brand. Today, I'm proud to show you a second Lagonda concept that will give you a glimpse of the brand's first model, scheduled to go into production at St Athan in 2022. Please welcome Marek Reichman and Nikki Rimington, our newly appointed Vice President and Chief Planning Officer, to reveal the future of large luxury mobility. Ladies and gentlemen, the Lagonda all-terrain concept. Why launch Lagonda with an SUV? Very simple. The two biggest growth factors in our market over the coming decade will be SUVs and electrification. And since Lagonda respects but is not bound by the past, we're free to define the brand on our terms. Think of Lagonda as a 120-year-old startup tech company. We asked our designers to put traditional thinking aside and take full advantage of the design opportunities that become available when you no longer need to provide space in the front of the vehicle for a large power source. The Lagonda all-terrain concept will be a sanctuary for its occupants. Like a sculpture on wheels, it will feel more like a luxury private jet than a car. A magical space-inspired SUV that will not be constrained by convention. It's not every motor show that we get to reveal 4 new vehicles all at once. In fact, this is the first time in my career. But what you see here today not only represents the third phase of our second century plan, but a bold statement of intent and ambition. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention today, and welcome to Aston Martin Lagonda, the great British car companies. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
How incredible do they look? Look at them.
It's a different ballgame, isn't it?
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
I wasn't joking when
I'm
I said this is going to be
obsessed.
a brand-defining moment.
It's why I want that one. That's the one that's screaming at me right now.
Me, 003. This
Zero-
blown my mind.
It looks like a pearl.
But it does. It has a triple-layer pearlescent paint job on it, so well done.
There we go. And you are clearly impressed. I can see it in your eyes. Everybody around us looks shocked, amazed, and happy. So, good start.
It's incredible, and you know, it's really rare for a brand to launch so many cars all at once. I mean, granted, this car, the Vanquish Vision Concept, we won't see on the road until 2022, but it just leaves Aston loads of room to drip feed us lots of awesome stuff over the next few years. So very exciting time indeed.
Just little tasters as we go. So there are so many questions coming in on social media at the moment. Hashtag Aston Martin if you haven't yet got in touch. But we're about to be joined by Andy Palmer. So let's quickly pause and take an exclusive look at some of these incredible new vehicles. And now here he is. Please welcome Andy Palmer. Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm okay. It was quite something. It's not very often that you get to unveil 4 new cars. It's the first time in my career I've done that many.
A big day for you and Aston Martin.
Big day for the company, absolutely.
How was the show?
Show is great. Look, what it's done is it allows us to very clearly outline where the 7 cars in the second century plan exist. So obviously we've already launched cars 1, 2 and 3, the DB11, the Vantage and the DBS Superleggera. Car number 4 we showed in 2015 as a concept, which was the DBX, launched later this year.
Yep.
We showed last year car number 7, the Lagonda sedan, but what we hadn't done is hadn't shown the 2 cars in between. So here we've been able to show the Vanquish,
Yep.
the mid-engine car, and the bloodline that allows that to be achieved through the 003, and of course the Lagonda SUV. So now the jigsaw puzzle is clear. That is the second century plan. That is what we're executing.
It's all out there.
Well, we've got a little bit of work to do to get there now.
Okay.
But yeah, you can at least see what it looks like now.
Yeah.
Andy, every time I see you, it's something awesome's happening. Every time. So congratulations once again on an amazing car launch, or a set of 4 car launches.
Thank you.
First of all, a personal question from me. I'm wondering, why is now the right time for Aston to be launching a rear mid-engine car?
Well, we would have had a hard time having the authenticity if we'd launched this 3 or 4 years ago. Going into Formula One racing in 2016, 2017, creating the Valkyrie, and obviously what you see on the stand today is the very first prototype
that thing is
Valkyrie.
incredible.
Amazing. And obviously, and having done that, having had now the credibility, and especially by 2021 when we launched the car, we have the credibility of, having created probably the most awesome hypercar in existence. That gives you that authenticity. It gives you a reason to believe why Aston Martin should exist in that mid-rear engine market, and that's the reason it's now, and it wasn't 2 or 3 years ago.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, there's James' question, but we have so many online for you. So if you'd like, we could do kind of a quick fire situation.
Hit me with it.
All right, let's go. Kate from Edinburgh has asked, why was now the right time to bring the Vanquish name back?
Well, the most obvious car would have been the DBS, but for me, Vanquish is such an emotional name, and I really wanted it on essentially the Halo car. Okay. And obviously, if you're not a DB, then you're a V, and it had to be a V, and Vanquish for me was simply the best name that we had.
It was that V. There you go, Kate. Another one from Pete in Watford says, how has F1 helped create Valkyrie and Vanquish?
Thank you, Pete. Well, without F1, for sure, Valkyrie couldn't have existed. Obviously, Adrian Newey was the creator of the Red Bull car and is the creator of the Valkyrie. Using standard automotive rules, as one of our competitors' bosses said, Valkyrie is impossible. Clearly, it's possible for us, but only by carving the team out of our company and putting it in and together with Red Bull, and doing some obsessions that I've never seen done before, particularly around downforce and weight. And basically, it is the passion of Formula One that has gone into the Valkyrie. And when you take a close look at the Valkyrie and you look at the joints and the suspension and the welding and the carbon fibre, it's amazing.
Yeah. You've got some?
So we have 2 more for you, Andy, from the online world. Stephen from Glamorgan has asked, when will we see the first Lagonda vehicle go on sale?
2022. Now you'll see us iterate towards with concept models, and obviously particularly around the Vale of Glamorgan, you're going to see us silently, of course, testing the car. But the first time you see it in anger will be the launch in 2022, and of course the sedan following in 2023.
Fantastic. And one more from Zach in North London. How close to Valkyrie is the AMRB 003?
It's different insofar as there's a little bit more room. It's a little bit more sociable in 003, a little bit. You can see it actually in the use of the dihedral doors as opposed to the gull-wing doors, so it's a little easier to get in and out. But it shares much of the carbon architecture of the Valkyrie. The bit where it crosses over and creates the bloodline down to the immediately behind you, the Vanquish is in the engine. So we're developing a new V6 hybrid engine that will be launched firstly in the 003, and then will find its way into the Vanquish. So you see that direct bloodline, and 003 acting as the bridge between the amazing Valkyrie and the amazing Vanquish.
Quite the bridge.
Big one. Well, I can see everybody's kind of making their way in here now. You're a busy man. You've got people to speak to and everything like that. So thank you so much for talking to us, and have a good rest of the day.
Yeah, you too. Enjoy yourselves.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, there you go. Thank you to every single one of you who's joined us, to Andy Palmer, to my esteemed co-host, Mr. JWW. You've been incredible. And, of course, everyone tuning in online all over the world. You've been lovely. We do still want to hear your comments and reactions, though, on the AMRB 003, the Vanquish Vision concept, and, of course, the Lagonda all-terrain concept. So you can do that with the hashtag Aston Martin.
Thanks a lot, Maya. It's been amazing. I'm really looking forward to all of the exciting new developments at Aston Martin Lagonda. Seriously awesome times ahead for this brand, I'd say.
Yeah, very exciting. I'm trying to get one myself at the moment. But,
Me too.
We're going to work on that after, in a minute. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for now. So I'll leave you from the Geneva Motor Show with a last look at some of the highlights from today's big event. Until next time, thank you for watching.
Ciao.